Hello and welcome to my Charlotte Astrology. My name is Charlotte. I'm a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyze the astrological charts of public figures, and very often they are celebrities, and they come in the form of actors, artists, musicians, royals, politicians, serial killers. But today I'll be analyzing the astrological chart of a sportsman. I haven't done too many of these. I think I've done one or two. I will be analyzing the chart of a very famous boxer, Mike Tyson. So if you're over the age of 30, you know exactly who the fuck this is. Like, this is the Mike Tyson. Like, for boxing, there's Mike Tyson. For basketball, there's Michael Jordan, right? Like, there are just, there are certain sports that I certainly don't know anything about, that that there is that, like, person or couple of people who embody everything about that sport, to the point where people that don't know anything about sport knows who the fuck they are. Michael Jordan is also the star of Space Jam, which I'm a huge fan of. I saw that in the cinema. It was great. So, and also kind of like, I'm trying to think who's someone else we could compare him to. And you're kind of like a Babe Ruth or a Joe DiMaggio, like for baseball, that kind. Like, Mike Tyson is one of those people that is a god of their profession, a god of their sport. And he fought Jake Paul, who's an up-and-coming, he was a YouTuber, influencer, and he's now transitioned into boxing, and he is apparently doing very well. I don't really follow boxing. I enjoy watching it. There's something about the intimacy of boxing that I like, that I don't get with other sports, because I really can't focus on, like, football, and, like, soccer's okay, but I really just, give me tennis, give me a boxing where there's, like, a one-on-one, like there's an intimacy about it that I enjoy watching. I really do, when I have the moment, I do enjoy watching boxing. So he did that with Jake Paul, and he lost, and a lot of people were very surprised. I at first thought Mike Tyson was going to win, and then, if you follow me on Instagram, please do follow me on Instagram. It's linked below. I actually kind of sort of predicted it. I don't do predictions, especially political predictions. I don't do that. I have no business doing that. I'm not here to be a false prophet. I'm just a girl that reads charts and helps people understand themselves and others. That's it. That's what we're here for. But for funsies, I was like, okay, let's have a look at the transit. And I was like, ooh. And you can go watch it. It's in my highlights on Instagram. And I'm like, I think Jake might win, because the transit, the full moon, was more favorable to his chart than it was to Mike's. And I was like, Now, yeah, I said that, but keep in mind that Jake Paul is like 30 years younger than Mike Tyson. So age, his youth was on his side here. It was so sad to watch Mike in that moment look like an almost 60-year-old man. He looked like a 60-year-old man, and it's sad because he is such a giant, but he has his legacy. He retired 20 years ago, and he came back out for the cash, and I respect that. I respect the hustle. As a Taurus Venus, I respect the hustle. So whatever. Before I dive in to his chart, I just want you guys to know, I do readings. So I've got MP3 readings. I've got the 5-minute, which is a focus reading. So if you have a specific issue or something, like a specific thing that you need from your chart, like an insight, that's the 5-minute one. And I got the 15-minute one for full transit readings, full chart readings, synastry readings. You can book that. And then I also have my members. So if you'd like to financially support me there, it's great. I'm doing a series on North Nodes. I do chart readings that you tell me what you want, and I'll give it to you on members. There's only one tier. It's like $5, £5. And yeah, I also have spots available for Zoom readings. So if you want to meet me and you want to talk about your chart and you want some insights and you like what I do, please book. Spots fill up really quickly though. So just jump in that if you can, get it as soon as you can, because once all the spots are filled, I won't be opening up any more spots. I'm gonna have it over December and January, so book those now. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's have a look at Mike Tyson's chart. So as you can see here, if he was born at the time that Astro Charts site says, if he was born at I think it's 9:40, he would be a Leo rising. Okay, and he's got a sun in Cancer, a moon in Sag. Such a vicious moon. I love it though. I do love Sag moons. They're my type of vicious. And then he's got a Venus and Mars in Gemini and a Mercury in Leo. His midheaven is in Taurus if he was born at this time. So I've got it in the front of my mind that this may not be his exact birth time. So I will have that at the front of my mind. So we won't take. We'll look more at the placements, at the planetary placements in the signs, and we'll put the houses as like a secondary, or we just won't focus on it as much. If you can find an exact birth time, that would be great, and I'll do an amendment. Okay, so let's talk about this. So the moon there was a full moon. The sun was in Scorpio, or is in Scorpio currently, sitting on that Neptune, and the moon was moving through his north node. It may have been moving through his midheaven if this is the right time, which is kind of fitting if it is right, because the midheaven is career and money and reputation. So with the moon moving through here, it's drawing attention to that part of his chart. When I have the moon go over my midheaven, I tend to get a lot of work. I tend to be like, my emotions show through, especially on Instagram. I'll cry on my fucking Instagram. Be more like vulnerable during that time. And the North Node in Taurus is all about stable money. And if we look at it as a North Node in the 10th house, it is cementing one's career legacy, shall we say. Career legacy. Because legacy could be the 8th house as well, but we're talking about like career. So his destiny is to get that bag. North Node in Taurus is solid. It's near a lot of his placements, which I do like for him. This is not he's not some sad, tragic figure. This is a very successful man that has come from he's come from a very dark place. He crawled out of a very dark, violent, sinister place. The genesis of Mike Tyson is a very violent tale. Stealing, potentially abuse. He witnessed it. He was a victim of it. He's a perpetrator of it, potentially, allegedly. He's growing up where he grew up. I can't remember where he was born, but I saw a bit of a documentary. It looked like he grew up in a rough part of town, and I saw footage of one guy go up to Mike. He's like, "You robbed me once," and he gave him a hug. And I was like, "This is a man that has had a remarkable evolution. Like, his character development is fantastic, top tier. I love that for him, because I can imagine this was incredibly painful. There was a story that he told about how the first fight he ever got in, the first street fight, and he said that someone took his pigeon and ripped its head off in front of him. His pet pigeon. So, and that's just that's just the tip of the iceberg, like tiny little, like fraction, tiny, dark stuff. So this is a nice North Node for him, because Taurus is solid ground and it's wealth. And I do think that this fight was a really good payday, whether or not he won the fight. It's been suggested that it was set up. I don't know. Maybe. It's entirely possible. But he secured the bag. And he's got his legacy. He retired in 2005, guys. Like, he's up there with Muhammad Ali. I think he's good. And Muhammad Ali, he lost a few fights as well. And that hasn't damaged his legacy, his career legacy. But yeah, it's how I look at this full moon with that sun on the south node, like a bright light that is shining upon his past success, his past traumas, the mythology, like that Genesis story. That's where the sun is shining, on that south node with Mike Tyson. So everybody who was like wanting Mike Tyson to win was watching the sun move over that dark Scorpio south node Neptune. It's very nostalgic and magical and inspiring. you know? It's glory days. And that's what a lot of us were looking at. Like, oh, we'd love Mike Tyson to win. But guys, that's his past. The moon was gently illuminating this. Like, his destiny is to move away from those glory days and that hardship and that fight, that Scorpio kind of Martian energy, and go into something that's Venusian, that's relaxing, that's graceful and grateful. He got a good payday. And it hurt him a little bit, but he got a good payday. So he got nothing to prove. He's got nothing to prove to anybody. I saw his bare backside today. I was like, he don't give a shit. But yeah, I do like and the ruler of this midheaven, if this is his midheaven, and this north node is Venus. It's very close by, not in a conjunction, but it is there. So the realization of wealth and self-love and peace, finding peace in his wealth, enjoying his money. So there's some good. I like this character development. I like this character arc. Let's talk about this Mars, because Mars is the phallus. It's sex. It's violence. It's anger. It's the most masculine part of you. Having his in Gemini makes him interested in so many different things. I don't think boxing. I mean, boxing is obviously his career. It's the thing that he made the most money off. But guys, he raises pigeons. Like, it's the most gentle, wholesome hobby. He breeds and he raises pigeons for shows. He goes to pigeon. It's just fucking adorable. Like, this man, it's just cute. Where was I going with this? He's got lots of different hobbies. I think he's someone who can get bored very easily. That's probably why fighting, especially with that Mars at a 22 kill or be killed degree, because he could kill someone. Pretty sure at certain points in his life he's almost killed a few people. But he has he is like an ADHD Mars. And it's in a very public part of the chart if this is his right time. A lot of his masculine energy, his anger, even his lust, is put out there into the world. So he's going to be known for being violent. He's going to be known for being this aggressive, hyper masculine, man, even though he's a Cancer, which is a very gentle sun sign to have. That Mars is not gentle. That Mars is very clever. He's very clever. I think he's a great strategist. I think he's got that survival instinct. He's got that fight instinct. He's got that trickster instinct. He can size people up real quick. The problem with his Mars is that it's not well aspected. It's squared 3 things. Let's start with Saturn. So Saturn represents, see this guy? Okay, so Saturn represents the authority, patriarchy, the rules, regulations, restrictions, right? It's something bigger than you. It governs, if the Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury, Mars, those are personal planets that have to do with your psychology, your personality, right? Saturn is big daddy, it's something that you can't control. It's something that is out of your control, that you have no power over. It has power over you. That's what Saturn is. It's karma as well. And at the 29th most mature degree, squaring off with this 22-degree Mars, he will pay for his bad behavior. He will be disgraced. He'll be fined. He may serve time in jail, and things like that. And I do believe those things have happened. But if he is violent or sexually irresponsible, Saturn's going to get in. Because if Saturn squares a personal planet and you're acting out, you will get your karma. You will suffer. You'll get sick. You'll get arrested. You'll pay out a lot of money. You'll be disgraced, because Saturn's also a public planet. It governs reputation in that 10th house. So yeah, he pays for his crimes. And that's probably, I don't know how fitting his punishments were for his crimes, but he's calmed down a lot. He seems to have learned a lot. So that's good. But yeah, Saturn squaring Mars, you pay for your violence. You pay for being irrational, irresponsible, and you pay for what's the word I'm trying to find? Your impulsivity will be punished. with that Mars, especially when you're almost going to kill someone. When you put people in danger, 22 degrees, you could kill someone. The other squares with Pluto and Uranus. So Pluto is like, it governs Pluto. So again, things that are bigger than you, but this time it's death, it's tragedy. It could be drugs, it could be mafia shit, organized crime, all that stuff. That's Pluto. I do believe he grew up around that. Uranus is the network. It's busy. It's technology, but it's also like it's a fame planet. It's society. It's society. Like the masses, the internet, television, things like that. Okay, so those two planets are squaring off with his Mars. So telling me that not only will Saturn punish him with, fines and jail and reputational disgrace, it's also going to lead to potentially sickness. Pluto would be doing that. It can also indicate just a very foul temper. Because of environment, like growing up in an environment where maybe there was a lot of crime and trauma, and it's gonna just aggravate that Mars and make him crazy. Like, and he can be crazy. He ripped someone's ear off. I remember that. Like, he bit someone's ear off. Like, crazy. And that was that was televised. That was on television. I do remember that. And Uranus is one of those planets that governs television technologies. So, I know that's all I have to say about his Mars. Venus in Gemini, it's pretty well aspected with his Mercury and Saturn. So over time, he learns to, he finds his peace. He learns to love right. Having Mercury and Venus at an exact sextile at 4 degrees. All the people that are numerologists, what does 4 degrees mean? Thank you very much. Mercury is the mind. It's in Leo, actually. So, like performative speaking, like talking. That makes a lot of sense. And he's famous for his voice as well. I don't think he's necessarily the most, like, he's not, obviously not known for how intellectual he is, but I think he's good at shit talking and it's entertaining. Leo is a sign of entertainment. It's in a really nice aspect to Venus, so he makes a lot of friends through this. I think people really admire him for his mind. Not that I'm saying he's a brainiac or anything, but I think there is something about him that's quite intelligent. Like, people that are good at sports, there's a strategy there. And also with boxing, there's showmanship. He's got a lot of, like, it's showmanship. And Leo and Gemini are performative signs. So that's a really nice, sexy little sextile there. He's clever. And he makes friends pretty easily. People like him generally. It's good. And Saturn sextiling Venus. I don't know where he is in terms of like his love life. I'm not sure, but over time he learns how to love properly. I will say it's that Venus is not nicely aspected to the moon. When you have a moon Venus opposition, it is really hard. It's one of the most difficult aspects because the things that you find attractive, the things that you value, oppose your emotional nature. So, and that is incredibly frustrating. I do think he has the tendency to potentially run. He's perpetually dissatisfied. I do enjoy a Sag moon. I like a Sag moon, but sometimes they're just like in terms of their domestic world, perpetually dissatisfied, always wanting an adventure. I want to live overseas. I want to live, like, always hungry to, to live that adventure in their everyday domestic world. And that's why they can be a bit erratic. And having this so far away from Venus, and Venus also is a bit of, they're both fuckboy placements. They're both fuckboy placements. What am I supposed to say? The Venus in Gemini, having whatever girlfriends. I'm not sure where he is right now in his love journey, but I feel like he's a bit of a cheater. I feel like he's a bit of a cheater. He might have like a roster of girls. If not now, then he certainly did before. He had a roster of girls. And he may or may not have bonded with them, but with it's opposite the Sag moon, he's gonna pull a runner. Baby, I love you. Let's go on these like let's do lots of fun things to get together. I think he could be a lot of fun here. It's very flirtatious. It's very sweet. He flirts with his words. And then he runs. Mutable Venus and mutable moon and air and fire. Like, both of them are fuckboy placements. Anyway, it might be, maybe he's a bit too old to be a fuckboy, but he certainly was when he was young. This is generous. A Jupiter Sun conjunction. And it's in the 11th house. If this is correct, it would be in a public house. Someone who's incredibly popular, someone godlike. I would say the moon in the 10th and 11th is a bit of a cult leader. And the sun in the 10th or 11th is, they make really good politicians, or they make really, like, they're movement makers. They can move the masses in a more masculine, sun-like, I am a god. Because the moon is subtle. It's a gentle feminine influence. It's usually someone who's a bit of a teacher, or someone who is a bit of a therapist to the masses, whereas the sun is like, I'm here to be glorious, darling. Follow me. Like, I am the chosen one. It's kind of like what I'm trying to think. Donald Trump, that's what Donald Trump has. He's got a sun in the 11th. It's much more masculine, whereas a moon in the 10th or 11th is much more gentle and feminine, like Lana Del Rey. So it's very much more nurturing versus this much more masculine, shiny, bright, untouchable energy. He's got that. He's very influential. And even viral, like he's kind of got that viral internet placement here. And he's just very popular. Saturn square the sun. Where's his dad, guys? And also Chiron is with the Saturn in the 8th. Where's his dad? I don't know anything about his dad, but dad does not look easy. Was he rejected by his father? Because Saturn does square the sun. I know it's a big orb, but it does square. Dad didn't approve of him. Dad didn't like him. Dad didn't want him. And even if Dad did love him, maybe he always felt he needed the approval of his father. Where's his dad, guys? Put in the comments. I don't know, but that Saturn square sun. Alternatively, it could also be a rejection of, because the sun is like your bright shine. It's who you are. It's where you shine. It's a creative force, right? Him being a creative force, and also it's in a gentle sign of Cancer, being compassionate. Saturn square the sun in Cancer. Him showing empathy and kindness and those feminine things probably made him very insecure, especially growing up in a very masculine, angry, violent world, and him being a sensitive Cancer man. Like, sometimes Cancers, when they're not comfortable with their gentleness and their femininity, they can become the most toxic guys. Toxic. Because they're so insecure about being sensitive. Like, anyway, Saturn square the sun. There's a rejection by his sensitivities. His self-expression is not approved of by father figures or law enforcers or the structure in which he has grown up in. That's what that indicates. And I should know that because my Saturn squares my sun too. And it's a bitch. Anyway. Mercury in the 12th house, he can maybe seem like a bit of an idiot. He's not an idiot, not at all, but it's not an easy placement to have Mercury in the 12th house. I think he's quite intuitive. I don't necessarily want to label him as psychic, but I think he's a very intuitive, instinctive person. It's a very well aspected Mercury, despite, like, there's no red lines here. Yeah, the moon trine the Mercury. Yeah. Fire moon, fire Mercury. I think he's really in the ring. I think he's really good at, like, feeling. He can smell people's fear, like as literal as he can just smell it. He can sense that in people. Because the moon is emotions, Mercury is the mind. Those two are very well connected in fire signs. So going to war isn't just about, like, It's not just about slapping someone. It's not just about hitting someone. It's about smelling their fear. He's got these planets in water houses, in fire placements. His intuition is used for attack. His intuition is used to hurt people, to destroy people, to go to war. It's not used for nurturing. It's not used to heal people. It's used to either defend himself or to attack, because it's warrior energy. Fire is warrior energy. But yeah, having those two planets is a nice alignment of the mind and the emotions. He's got those in check there in terms of like when it comes to his profession, his fighting. The moon, and he's got Pluto, Uranus square the moon, so that's the upset mother. Though that harsh environment with all the violence and all the like the organized crime and all of that environment, things out of his control, squaring the moon, the mother suffered. Where's his mother? Who knows anything about his mother? His mother was not happy. His mother, because his moon in Sagittarius, maybe she thought, had I picked a different path. I think I don't know if she's alive anymore, but when you have a Sag moon or a moon in the ninth, your mum could have been like, the grass is greener. There's a sense of sadness there with a mother. Like, she was perpetually dissatisfied, and as a result, you were also that way with this placement. Yeah, interesting chart. Very, very interesting. His parents divorced, or did they stay together? Because if this is in the 8th house, he's been divorced. Saturn in the 8th house is a divorce placement. I do believe he is divorced. But he's got a lot of wounds around intimacy. Does anybody else know about his parents? Did they get divorced too? Like, does anybody know the story? But there's something up here. Because, I'm sorry, but with his history with women, that would indicate some kind of trauma with the parents. A man that acts this way with his partners doesn't have a healthy thing with the parents. It just doesn't, and this doesn't. That's pointing to that, if this is the correct chart. Anyway, he's having his Saturn return. He's going to finish that in February 2026. That's coming to an end. So this fight it's very poignant, actually, because this is him cementing his legacy and properly retiring. Like, I don't think he's going to fight again. Like, the Saturn return is like, just let it go. Don't relive your youth. Sometimes when men especially, when they have Saturn returns, they can feel a little bit desperate to relive their youth. That's when they get a young girlfriend, buy a car, like buy a ridiculous car, that kind of thing. That's the energy he's in right now. Not that he needed to prove anything, but I just think he wanted to relive some glory days. He wanted to relive, 1995. I feel like would have been a very hectic career. I have a very hectic period in his life, specifically like in his personal life and career. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that, guys. Oh, Pallas Athena, creative and strategic genius, is in the sign of Aries. War. His creative and strategic genius is expressed in warlike things. There we go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. Did you guys watch the fight? Let me know in the comments. Did you like it? Who are you rooting for? Also, did you know that Mike was going to lose? I'm going to come back with another reading on Jake Paul, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much. Bye.